have you heard this woman in France was scammed out of almost $1 million?
Wow.
Um,
Actually,
because
because that's pounds, right? Or is that
that's
euros?
euros.
So
It's a,
let's see.
well, the exchange rate, I think it's about the same, but it's
Okay.
upwards of almost $1 million. But some scammer convinced her that he was Brad Pitt. At first, he was Brad Pitt's mother. So
Right.
the mother kind of got in touch with her through Instagram and was like, I've been looking at your Instagram pictures and you just seem like a really sweet girl. I'm Brad Pitt's mother, and I just wish she would leave this Angelina Jolie person and get with someone really nice and down to earth, just like you.
Hold on. Let me look up what is Brad Pitt's mom's name? Jane Etta Pitt.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, "Hi, I'm Jane."
This is Jane. And so she the scammers used AI to make imagery of Brad Pitt. I guess that's what's below here, but although that looks like really bad photoshops of Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
But and even made AI like news reports that were sent to her, and it was like in France, as if it was like a French news show about Brad Pitt and celebrity gossip.
According to Mr. Brad Pitt, he is in an exclusive and loving relationship with one special individual who holds an exceptional place in their heart, who goes by the name of ANN.
And it was like, Brad Pitt has a new girlfriend, and was sent to this poor woman, and the woman's like, oh wow, are they talking about me? And anyways, these scammers basically duped her into thinking she was having a relationship with Brad Pitt, and asked her for like almost $1 million so that Brad Pitt could have like surgery. And the whole idea was like, oh, Brad Pitt can't pay for this himself because his money is all tied up
with tied up with a Nigerian prince.
Angelina Jolie divorce. Yeah, so it's basically like the Nigerian prince phenomenon, but it's Brad Pitt this time.
It's funny. What would have been funny is if like they want to make Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt wants to get surgery, so he looks like Nicolas Cage, just like Face Off. So, but I don't know.
That would be silly.
The ramifications are pretty terrifying of what can actually happen here.
Well, first of all, this woman paid like $1 million for this to have this relationship with a Brad Pitt. What I'm thinking is she could have gone with this option. This new company, Realbotics, makes these synthetic partners. Let's juxtapose the Brad Pitt story with this story, which just came out a week or so ago, of these new, they look like sex dolls or sex bots. But
for all intents and purposes, that's kind of what they are.
Well, no, they are. But they're with AI technology. They've been given voices and personalities, and they could chat with you. So it's like a chat companion bot inside of this chassis, a human latex chassis made to look like this woman, right? And you could have a male or female companion, right? Now, Brad Pitt, the fake Brad Pitt, cost almost $1 million. These things go for $100,000, $150,000 a pop. So so this is where I'm going with this. Speculate. What if you started churning out these companion robots, but you can get like the Brad Pitt model?
That would
she could have saved like $900,000 and had something to show for it instead of this elusive, non-existent Brad Pitt. It's the same AI. It's the Brad Pitt personality, Brad Pitt's voice, his cloned voice in AI, but you turn it into a robot that she can take home and just kind of chill with. What do you think,
dude? I think
it's a business model.
I say like, if that's people's thing, great. It's like that like the dystopian future is here.
Oh no, absolutely.
Like Philip K. Dick is rolling over in his grave right
rolling
now.
over in his grave. But think about it. So what if you could already clone a voice. So you can clone Brad Pitt's voice or any celebrity's voice.
Yeah.
You could even like take Brad Pitt's hair, and you could probably clone that. Like break it down and say, oh, this is synthetic hair, kind of based on the DNA strands that we extracted from Brad Pitt's actual hair. So this hair
Right.
is like genetically created in a lab. It's actually from the source material, Brad Pitt's hair.
Right.
So you got his voice, you got his personality, you got his hair, maybe, I don't know, skin tone, just everything exactly the same, just like Brad Pitt.
Right. I've got a question though.
Can you, from Brad Pitt's perspective, maybe you can, make him, he could have skin in the game, as it were.
Right.
You could pay him for his hair follicles, pay him for his endorsement. He could even sign it, like, this is the Brad Pitt model.
Right.
Endorsed by Brad Pitt.
Here's the thing though, like that okay, so like Brad Pitt, like whatever celebrities, would be into that, right? Like how many people have $175,000 lying around that they can buy, that's like a house. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like
it's for lonely rich people.
But like where the money is the budget models, where like if you can bring those down to like say 30,000, 20 to 30,000,
like $30.
No, or like or
it's like a ping pong paddle with like Pitt's face like
no, but
Xeroxed onto it.
Well, think about this. Like when CD players came out, they were $800, right?
Right.
Maybe what they do is like they have these first gen AI bots, right? And then they get used, and then they trade in for the newer model, and then these ones get refurbished, and now
so it's like a leasing
AI
plan.
AI sex bots for the masses.
Yeah, it's a subscription plan. You subscribe to these. Another thing is like it doesn't necessarily have to be a sex bot. Like you don't have to have sex with Brad Pitt. You can, you could just have him come to your dinner party. And you could if you're really rich, you could collect a whole series of like the whole cast of Friends can be at your dinner party.
Right, but obviously, like like I just like watching that little clip that you just put up. They're like here's a woman or a man if that's your thing. That's not marketed towards lonely women. That's marketed towards dudes, man. You know what I'm saying?
Now the problem though is, and let's get into the deeper territory if you don't mind. Like,
yeah,
a lot of this stuff is marketed, and not just these expensive robots, but even just like a little chat bot that you just talk to online. They don't even have a face, or they're just an interface that you chat with. These have actually been, in the last few years, marketed as like ways to overcome loneliness. For whatever reason, some people blame the pandemic or whatever, but they say loneliness is running rampant. They say like 70% of people who chat with our AI chatbot say they feel less lonely after 10 minutes of use. And I'm always like, it seems like like a fix that actually just makes the problem worse. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but
like a quick fix, but a long-term detriment.
No, that's a conundrum, isn't it?
It is a conundrum. I thought we would bring this conundrum up for closer inspection. Just thinking, like, technology in general is supposed to be like a tool in our hand to help us, to help us live our lives. And I think in subtle ways, like sometimes that tool in our hand kind of gets the upper hand on us So it's
Yeah.
called like a modernist or postmodern inversion, where the technology is supposed to serve us, we become enslaved by it in some way. And I think this could subtly be that case in the sense that, you know, we're lonely, we're disconnected in our modern life, so we're looking for these like tech or AI alternatives or replacements. And so, hey, let me sink my time and energy into this chatbot or into this robot that's going to give me what I lack, what I miss. But what I really want is an actual physical human being to, and of course, leaving aside the question of like procreation, because like another problem apart from loneliness is like the birth rates are falling, especially in like developed technologically advanced countries. And I think these kinds of distractions and dead ends, cul-de-sacs, like almost a genetic cul-de-sac, like, oh, let me spend my whole time like chasing these bots and sex robots and stuff that they might satisfy your cravings, desires for companionship or sex or whatever, but they could never bear your child. Not to get deep, but you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like a trap. It's a trap.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think if you get lonely enough, if people get lonely enough, there's obviously compromises. So if it's like, hey, I can talk to this AI bot, and I can program it to say what I want it to. It's almost like really narcissistic because there's no challenge there.
Well, I'm sure you can request in one way or another, like through an app, that it has personality quirks that you can like modify. It's like a bespoke robot where you could say, "Oh, I want a real catty, feisty girlfriend. I want her to fight with me. I want her to talk back to me. I don't want her just to be like pliant and, you know, servile and civil all the time. I want her to be a real bitch, you know."
Right. But I mean, are people really gonna do that? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe. No, I think do what? Like ask for a catty girlfriend?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like you want.
Well, if it gets too annoying, you could just change it. Like you could adjust the knobs. Like, oh, she's too catty.
Not unless they become sentient, and all of a sudden, you know, like all of a sudden it's Westworld and shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, when are they gonna? Actually, there's a new movie out called Companion.
Yeah.
It just came out like a few days ago, and it's like kind of the companion robot gone wild, you know.
Kind of like the Stepford Wives back in the day.
Right. I haven't, and there's killing involved. I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and this just came out of like a few days ago, I think. It was definitely.
Yeah. I saw the previews for that.
Anyway,
I don't know, man. I do have like a lot of empathy for people who feel like people who are lonely. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
People that need companionship. And
I'm not saying that. Yeah, that these people should like toughen up, but
yeah. I don't know though. I think look, like when you look at the AI bots, like what are they calling them anyway? Are they AI bots or like
the companion robots or
AI companions?
I'm sure they're
They look obviously fake, but you know what? They look way more real than I'm comfortable like of robots.
Or they look like much more advanced than maybe 10 years ago. Like a lot of advancements have been made in this area.
What's gonna like, dude? This is like, honestly, man, this is like Terminator. I mean, in 20 years, you're gonna have like organic, grown tissue that's gonna be surrounding these AI bots. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, like they're gonna look. My point is like they're gonna look way more realistic in 10 years if this keeps going.
Right. And hey, not just a bot that's kind of I mean, you could have a chat bot or a companion bot like this that's has a free flowing conversation with you, and it's running on an algorithm or it's running on a pre programmed like code, like an AI, an artificial intelligent code. But what if you had a robot like this that like a drone is actually being operated by a remote source? Like you could have like farms of robot operators.
Wow.
Whose job it is to help the robot respond in such a way so that your commands, like you're the companion, this robot companion is.
Okay, now that you say that, I can very well see that happening. But, dude, can you imagine, like how, man, like how much room for blackmail, like in this world, would that lead to?
So here's the question I have. So, is it cheating if you're like, let's say you're with one of these things?
Oh, dude.
And
wow,
if you have no, I mean, I think if it's being controlled by another human being distantly, then that's cheating. But if it's just a self-contained AI program that's sentient but non-human, what if you said, "Hey, wife, would you like a threesome?"
Oh, jeez.
With this friend of mine, Amanda.
Amanda Hugging
Kiss.
I don't know, man. I honestly, that's one that
each of us is going to have to answer these kinds of questions in the near future.
I mean, that entails so much more, like questions, like, okay, is it cheating? Because like you like, are you attracted to it physically, or are you attracted to it, the whole AI personality? You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't, dude. Okay, like I would say maybe.
A definite maybe.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have $100,000 to spend on one of these models. But what if it becomes like an Uber service? Like, okay, I'm not buying the car. I'm just using it for tonight. And these things can just literally walk down the street, ring your doorbell, and be like, "Hello, you've ordered me."
Oh, dude, that's so. Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. That I think that would depend on the like, if you well, one, if you're with somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you feel the need to buy a companion robot, right? That is like the pleasure model, so to speak, right?
Right.
Where we just then yeah, in a weird way, I would say that it's cheating.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Because it's just a glorified. It could just be a glorified sex toy. A dildo,
right. But hear me out. You're not you like, someone would be buying this if they're married, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not, the husband or wife is not giving them what they need at home. So you're looking for gratification or whatever outside of the relationship. You know what I'm talking about?
Maybe you are getting what you need at home. You're just this is just a little bit more of what you need. I don't know.
No,
I'm saying like you. What if you were to use this with your partner?
But okay, so like if you're with a partner and like you both mutually decide, hey, we want to bring another person into the mix, and no,
semi-human person. What?
Yeah, but it's not cheating if both parties are involved. Or like, yeah, you know what? Let's bring this in. It might depend on the motive as to whether or not it's cheating.
Ooh,
If you
wow.
need
This is
like
very
somebody like a
philosophical.
secretary, yeah, if you need a secretary to sit there and like you can like bounce ideas off of and like and it's completely like they're just sitting there in the corner and blah 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 blah, then no, you've got a buddy. You know what I'm talking
But
about?
what if this buddy has an enormous rack?
Yeah, no, I
I
mean,
mean, your wife would come home and be like, "Why did you hire this? Why did you buy this particular model secretary?"
right. Yeah, because like, well, because she reminds me of mother. No. I think I've come to the conclusion that if you're in a relationship and you bring you you want one of these outside of like the novelty factor where it's like, hey, look, we got we got an AI bot.
We could make her crawl around on the floor.
Yeah.
What if you don't actually have SEX with this thing, but just humiliate it? Like you can do other things that are kind of borderline sexual, but like not penetrative. I'm just my mind's just kind of like
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know what I would do? You know what I would do if I were if this thing becomes where I would make my money?
yeah.
Like I would invent an STD for these things to like so like jealous wives can give this thing an STD and then their husband gets an STD
Wow.
or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be a crazy world.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. This like, yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's like everything we've read about, like when we were kids, is like coming true. Like the worst parts
Yeah.
of, you know,
I mean, when I was a small boy of 8 or 9 years old, I would have a recurring nightmare that I mean, at the time I didn't even understand, but it was like drones were following me. It was like drone warfare, and you have to hide from the drones. But this was long
Yeah.
before there was even such a thing as drones. And so now when I see like these combat footage videos from like the Ukraine where all this drone warfare is going on, and people have to hide from drones, and they get bombed by drones, and
no,
it's,
dude.
and then you see these drone swarms that they have in China where they like dance and do all these patterns and stuff. And I'm like, can you imagine if it was like a drone swarm after you, like a swarm of
Yeah.
bees, but all of them had like bombs on them? It'd be crazy.
It would be absolutely nuts. I mean, and you know, what's to stop like a swarm of like 1 million drones coming up over? I mean, outside of like whatever, but everyone with like every drone with like a little bit of C4 on there, and then coming over, and then just running into houses. You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, or you combine that with the Sexbot, and what if you had a swarm? No, so
A swarm of sex bots.
in the intelligence world, you call it like a honeypot, right?
Right.
So a honeypot, very well. I mean, this is a little bit far, down the road a little bit, but like a fully humanoid, like convincing woman, very attractive, who seduces a man in the middle of coitus interruptus in the hotel room. She explodes.
Right. Yo, man, this topic of conversation get real dark real quick, bro.
Well, it's gotten dark. I'm just trying to think of all the different, scenarios.
There's so many scenarios that I can think of, like of people just the worst of their behavior, like the worst of their primal urges coming out with.
Isn't that funny
these
though? I mean, here we are, like we think we're so advanced now with all this technology, but what it's all revolving around is the most bestial base kind of animal instincts, like this stuff right here.
What this conversation is revolving around is that I don't know.
That's yeah. Well, that was intentional.
But when you look at how these things are constructed, then it's a really easy conclusion to draw. You know,
Right,
Um,
right. Because you're like,
and
oh, okay, so you made this woman with a mouth of a certain like girth,
right, yeah, yeah. No,
all these orifices.
it's obvious what it is, and I
Right.
mean, on one hand, it's like more power to you, but on the other hand, like I said, I do believe that you've got to draw the line somewhere. You've got to draw a line. I think, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're like I said, like I know that you're talking about it's a very broad, like I do think that there's a lot of weird stuff that could happen with these things. Like dude, and it's not just men and women. It could be anything. It could be, farm animals for all you know what I'm talking about. It could be,
AI Sexbot farm animals.
dude, I'm yeah, oh man.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get as dark as possible. So you know that like the whole furry thing where guys are dressed up as dogs with a dog like mask. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so think that in your mind. The guys with the dog masks and they're like into bondage and dog masks, leashes and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you know those Boston Dynamics dog robots.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
So so you're saying like maybe you could get a dog robot to perform certain acts, like hump the leg of of one of these fetishists,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
I
then the
mean,
fetishist maybe turns the dog robot over on its hind legs. I'm sorry.
yo, man, this isn't even as dark. Like
Oh,
okay, so let's talk about like making like a fucking robot for that's an 8-year-old robot.
oh no, let's not even talk about that. Actually,
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm saying like
let's.
we
Yeah,
gotta draw the line.
I hear you though. No, that's dark. It
Yeah,
can
that's
get-
what I'm saying.
it can get extremely
This
dark.
whole thing is dark.
No, it's like a can of worms. It's like a Pandora's box.
Yeah. So, do we really, really, really want to, like, as a society,
Yeah.
like, is this where we want to go?